You are listening to the Shmiras Einayim podcast. Chizuk and practical help to overcome our most difficult nisayon.
In the history of Klal Yisrael, this nisayon of Shmiras Einayim is not new. We've had this nisayon for a long time. We already discussed Yosef at length, Yosef HaTzadik, and the nisyonos, first with Ashes Potifar, and everything else in the Ervas Haaretz in Mitzrayim. The Maaseh, Klal Yisrael has always been able to overcome. In Mitzrayim, there was only one case of znus, which the Torah is mefarsem, and even that was a case of an holiness, because Klal Yisrael was able to stay away, to remain tahor, to remain pure from the Gilui Arayis that was rampant in Mitzrayim. Bilam, the bracha that he gives Klal Yisrael, Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, tells about the tznius of Klal Yisrael, about how Klal Yisrael, the entrances to their doors, the doors of their tents weren't facing each other. Taka kasha nowadays. Why are they not makbid on this when they build buildings?
It's not the same.
Yeah. Maybe it's not the same. I don't know. I ask it as a kasha. I don't could be their terutzim. Lemaise, it's matov alech Yaakov. This bracha that we say every day. The warriors, also Bilam knew that how do you get Klal Yisrael? What do? You get them with znus. That's how you get them. The God of these peoples hates znus. So throw some girls in front of them. See what happens. It's in the Nisayon. I think this is the first time with the first people to have these nisyonos. The warriors, Chazal tell us, the warriors that fought against Midian, to destroy Midian for what they did for this Maaseh of Bilam, they didn't even look at the faces of the women that they captured. Yes, it's true, they made a mistake. They should have killed them. That was a mistake. But they didn't even look at their faces. In order to take the jewelry off of them, they first put masks on their faces. And the Maaseh, these nisyonos, we've had them. Chazal tell us numerous cases, even of the greatest Gedolim who had nisyonos in this area. One Maaseh, a crazy, unbelievable Maaseh in the Yalkut Shemaini, in Parshas Vayechi. The Yalkut Shemaini tells about a conversation that the Satan has with Ribbon Shalom, and the Satan asks Ribbon Shalom, there's a certain tzaddik, Talmid Chacham, great gadol, a Tana, Reb Masya ben Cherish. What is he? He's special. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, he's a tzaddik gomer. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says about him. He's a tzaddik gomer. And Satan says, I bet you I could get him to sin. So Hashem says, no, you can't. Satan says, you let me try? Sure, I'll let you try. Okay. The Midrash goes on to describe, what did the Satan do? Satan got himself dressed up as the most beautiful woman to ever walk the earth since the days of Chava. And she parked himself right in front of her Masya ben Cherish. And of course he's learning, but there's somebody there. Yeah, so what do? He turned the chair around. And she followed him around. And he kept turning the chair. And he didn't want to look at her. But she kept following him. What am I going to do? You know what a poker is? Hot poker? From a fireplace. You have a fire and you want to get the fire going. You have these long metal rods that you poke the fire with. He took 2 of those and he gouged his own eyes out. It says the Satan fainted. The Satan fainted. Couldn't believe it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the Malach Refuel to heal him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the Malach Refuel to heal Rav Masya ben Cherish, and he comes to Rav Masya ben Cherish and he says, I can't see. Who are you? He says, I'm the Malach Refuel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent me to heal you. No, thank you. I'm not interested. I'm happier this way. Falls. Okay, he goes back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he says he's not interested. He doesn't want it. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, go back to him and tell him, I want you to be healed, and I guarantee you won't sin. I guarantee. You don't have to worry. I want you to be healed. It's a mysterious nefesh. I don't think we're expected to be like this, but we have to understand this was a yetzer hara. It wasn't like, like who cares? Like big deal. It doesn't mean anything to me. It means nothing to me. The Tanoim knew that it meant something to them too. They also had this nisayon. The Gemara in Sukkah describes Abaye. That Abaye once was in a certain place and he saw a man and a woman who are not married to each other. They decided they were going to go traveling together. They're going in the same direction, and they're going to go traveling together. And Abaye is like, whoa, what's going on over here? This is going to be terrible. So he decides, I'm going to follow them. So when they get to a point where they're going to be over Avera, I'm going to be able to break it up. So he was following behind. They got to a point, a crossroads, and they said to each other, "Oh, it was so nice traveling with you. Maybe it would be nice if we could go on together, but you're going this way and I'm going that way. So shalom, lehitrot," and they both go each their own way. Nothing happened. The Gemara says that Abaye was so upset. He was mamish like depressed. Why? He was depressed that they didn't do anything bad? That's not what he was depressed about. Abaye sat down, he was so upset. Why was he so upset? He said, because if it would have been me, I would have done something. I would have been over the chait. If it would have been me, I would have done the chait. How could it be that this guy didn't do anything? How could it be? Am I such a rasha that I would have done the chait and he didn't? So it says, Echad Saba, there was somebody there who he was talking to, and he said, you should know it's not true. You should know it's because you're on a madrega that you would have been over in the chait. It's because you're on a high point, that's what you would have been over on the chait. Somebody who's on a lower level, so they already have so much garbage on top of their neshamas already. They don't feel it. They're not as sensitive. It's meaningless. They're sick. Their neshamas have an illness that all the garbage on it is causing their neshamas to be sick, and that's why, who knows what could be their past. But you're such a spiritually sensitive person. If you would have been put in such an isayon, yeah, the big people, the Gedolim Ador, yeah, Tanoim Amoroim, Palti Ben Laish. Palti Ben Laish was unbelievable. Chazal compare him to Yosef HaTzadik. Palti Ben Laish was living with a married woman. Not married, he was supposedly married to him. Palti Ben Laish was married to the daughter of Shaul. Michal was really married to David. But David fell out of Shaul's good graces. And he said that the chasana wasn't really good. It was puzzled for some reason, whatever. And she married her daughter Michal off. He married his daughter Michal off to Palti Ben Laish. Palti Ben Laish is like, but she's already married to somebody else. What am I supposed to do? You're gonna argue with the king? You're gonna argue with the king? He's telling you to marry his daughter, and you're gonna argue with him and tell him that she's really married to the guy he wants to kill? That's what you're gonna do? Not a good idea. What are you supposed to do? So he stuck a sword in his bed. They lived together in the same apartment, house, whatever it was. You have kashas, and how could it be? Yichud is Yichud Daraisa with an Ashes Ish, and whatever. Lamaisi, he stuck a sword in the bed, and to remind him, you go over here, you should be stabbed by this. Gedolim Olam. He had the yetzer hara with him in the same room every single night for who knows how long, until David came back to reclaim what was rightfully his. Gedolim Olam. It's unbelievable. This nisayon is a nisayon that we've been challenged with throughout the generations. I say about the levush. The levush wrote 10 svarim, 10 sifrei levush. Where does that come from? Story, probably many of you have heard the story, but amazing story. Levush, I think his name is Mordechai Yafe. I think. Yafet was definitely his family name. I forgot what the first name is, but you can check it up in any of his Sfarim. He was a very handsome person, Yafet. He was a very handsome man. And he wore he was also wealthy. He wore very, very beautiful garments. And one time there was a noble woman passing by. And she saw, wow, who's this? She got down from her carriage, came over to speak to him. And he realized at a certain point, like, this is not okay. What's going on here is not okay. So he saw a little bit on the side of the road, saw a little close by, a biyuv, a cesspool. And he ran and he jumped into it. So now she's not interested in him anymore. Yeah? And Mina Shamayim, he said, I think he read it in the Sfarim. Mina Shamayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed him that he ruined his 10 beautiful garments, so he was zoichet to write 10 sifrei Sfarim, all called Levush, different Levush, Malchut Levush, Tcheles, the Sfarim of the Levush. So it's not only in our door. This is a nisayon that Klal Yisrael has had to face for a very, very long time. We have to realize that this itself is what brings the kedusha. Kedusha doesn't come from doing all kinds of midas chasidus, go and be toivel and kerach and up all night learning 20 hours. Those are, the big milas. Well, where does kedusha come from? Kedusha comes from not doing something. Just sitting and doing nothing. Do nothing. Don't look. I was just listening to a recording of Rapinkus talking about Hanukkah. And he spoke about loyalty. What's loyalty? Loyalty is not when things are good. When things are good, you stick around because things are good. Why wouldn't I want to be here? If your investment's going well, so stick around. I don't have to be loyal for that. I don't have to be interested in making money. Loyalty comes when things are tough, when things are bad. Things are not going as well as you would have wanted them, but I stick around because I'm loyal. I know this is the right place, this is the right thing, even if it's not going so well for me, but this is that's where you need loyalty. And one of the examples, he said, yeah, you're fighting with your wife. You're fighting with your wife. So what should you do when you're fighting with your wife? Sometimes you can't stop fighting. Sometimes you can't say, I'm sorry. Sometimes you can't, but be loyal. You know what be loyal means? It means don't leave the house. It means don't go down the block to someplace else. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. But don't go someplace else. That's what being loyal means. It doesn't always mean that I have to, it's hard to learn. Learning is a great yetzer for Shmir Sinai. I'm going to talk about it in another few minutes. It's a great yetzer. Maybe next time. Maybe we won't get to it this time. Stam learning Torah is a great yetzer for Shmir Sinai. Maybe we won't get to it now. But if you can't learn. I can't learn. Whatever it is, I can't learn today. Okay, fine, you can't learn. So go to sleep. Go to sleep. Who says you have to take out this magazine? Who says you have to turn on this machshir? To turn on this mode of entertainment? Who says? You don't have to do that. Just go to sleep. Do nothing. Better to be bored. Do nothing. That's loyalty. Loyalty means I just do not, and that's where the kedusha is. Kedusha doesn't mean I have to do. That's all those are milas and they're wonderful things, but kedusha comes from don't do. Stop from doing. L'maisa, with a Jew, with a goy, be'etzim, it's the same isurim. The same isurim. Chazal describe with a goya, oive. What the olam haba awaits somebody who is chayte with a goy, with a shiksa. The point here is the kedusha itself comes from not doing. Anybody wants to be kadosh, you don't have to be the biggest masmid, the biggest ilui, the biggest this to be a kadosh. Just got to sleep all day. Don't go to the wrong places. Don't look. Better to go sleep than to turn on something that you know you're going to see something that's not okay. Go to sleep. I heard this from Rapinkus. You can't, it's too hard, I can't do it. Go to sleep. I just want to finish up. We'll start with this next week, Be'ez Hashem. But there are a lot of milas also. When a person holds back, when a person can control themselves, they gain so many milas. So many milas that a person can have for themselves. A lot of times we don't even realize, we might realize that we're upset about something, or that we're anxious about something, or that we want something that we can't get. But we don't understand what the root of that problem is. We don't understand why it's that way. Yeah, and something in the secular world, it's called FOMO. Yeah, you heard of this concept, FOMO? Fear of missing out. Everybody knows, yeah? Fear of missing out. And a lot of this stems from this area too. We don't have time right now to go into the details, but Lamaisa, the more a person looks at things that they can't have, the more they feel that they're missing out. The more you feel like you're missing out, the more you're going to feel you're missing out everywhere. The more a person realizes, that's not shaykh to me, this is not shaykh to me, then it's much easier for a person to realize there are a lot of things that are just not meant for me, and I don't have that fear. It's a fear, yeah? This mamish, you're scared. That stems from wanting something that you don't have shaykhus to. That's really what looking does. We have to talk more in depth about how looking at something affects you on the inside and on the outside, but not for now. What I wanted to establish today was this is an old yetzer hara, and we've had a lot of success, Baruch Hashem, with it. We've had a lot of success. We already have the shroshim of this in our genes, that we could beat this yetzer hara, and we become more kadosh again by doing nothing. As Hashem, we'll talk about a lot of the benefits that a person gets from being able to control himself. As Hashem, next week.
Thank you for listening to this Foundations podcast production. If you like today's episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you know someone who this podcast might help, don't forget to let him know. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.